Shining like a lynx, are you keen to be seen when you're smelling a rat? Were you there when the pharaohs commissioned the Sphinx? If you were and you are, you're a Jellicle cat. Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats. 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 In the valley air, like a flying trapeze, we can turn over songs of that's on a song. We can run up a wall, we can swing to the tree. We can balance on walls, for a while. Jellicles can and jellicles do. 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 Jellicles songs for Jellicle cats. Jellicles songs for Jellicle cats. Jellicles songs for Jellicle cats. Jellicle songs for Jellicle cats. Sing time before the monkey. You can find the sea. And what's his voice called? And can you just cats do speaking with a C? That always triumphant visions from the house. Jellicle cats are things of the night, singing as I start loving the rise. Rendering pieces from the Messiah. Hallelujah, a Jellicle call. Jellicle cats are things of the night, singing as I start loving the rise. Rendering pieces from the Messiah. Hallelujah, a Jellicle call.
That was the Jellicle song by, in Cats. So, let's get this show on the roll. Cats was originally invented by T.S. Eliot. He was born on September 22nd, 1888. He died on January 4th, 1965. He was a poet, a publisher, and a playwright, and literary and a social critic, both in St. Louis, Missouri, to the prominent Boston Brahmin family. He moved to England in 1914 at the age of 25 and would settle work and marry there. He became a British subject in 1926 at the age of 39. Subsequently renounced his American passport. Considered one of the 20th century major poets, Eliot attracted widespread attention for his poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, in 1915, which was seen as a masterpiece of the modernist movement. It was followed by some of the best-known poems in the English language, including The Wasteland in 1922, The Hollow Man in 1925, Ash Wednesday in 1930, The Four Courts in 1943. He was also known for his 7 plays, particularly Murder in the Cathedral in 1935, The Cocktail Party in 1949. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1948 for his outstanding pioneer contribution to present-day poetry. In his early life and education, the Eliots were a Boston Brahmin family with the roots in England and New England. Eliot's parental grandfather, William Greenleaf Eliot, had moved to St. Louis, Missouri to establish the Unitarian Christian Church there. His father, Henry Warr Elliott, which was born in 1843, died in 1919, was a successful businessman, president and treasurer of the Hydraulic Press Brick Company in St. Louis. His mother, Charlotte Shamp Stearns, which was born in 1843 through 1929, wrote poetry and was a social worker, a new profession in the early 20th century. Elliott was the last of the 6 surviving children, known to the family and friends as Tom. He was the namesake of his maternal grandfather, Thomas Stearns. Elliott's childhood infatuation with literature can be ascribed to several factors. First, he had to overcome physical limitations as a child, struggling from a congregational double inguinal hernia. He could not participate in many physical activities and thus was prevented from socializing with his peers. As he was often isolated, his love for literature developed. Once he learned to read, the young Alan Tate perceived a shift in Elliott's methods. Writing the mythologies disappeared altogether. In The Hollow Man, this is a striking claim for a poem as indebted to Dante as anything else in Elliott's early work to say little to the modern English mythology. The Old Guy Fawkes of the Gunpowder Plot, or the colonial and Agrigena mythos of Joseph Conrad and James George Fraser, which, at least for reasons of textual history, echo in the wasteland. The continuous parallel between contemporaneity and antiquities that is so characteristic to his mythical methods remained in fine form. The Hollow Man contains some of Elliott's most famous lines, nobility its conclusion. This is the way the world ends, not with a bang, but a whimper. Ash Wednesday is the first long poem written by Elliott after his 1927 conversion to Angelicism, published in 1930. It deals with the struggle that ensues when one who has lacked faith acquires it. Sometimes referred to as Elliott's conversion poem, it is richly but ambiguously elusive and deals. Sometimes it refers to Elliott's. With the aspiration to move from spiritual barrenness to hope for human salvation, Elliott's style of writing to Ash Wednesday showed a marked shift from the poetry. he had written prior to his 1927 conversion, and his post-conversion style continued in a similar vein. His style became less ironic, and the poems were no longer populated by multiple characters in dialogue. Eliot's subject matter also became more focused on his spiritual concerns and his Christian faith. Many critics were particularly enthusiastic about the Ash Wednesday. Edwin Moore maintained that it is one of the most moving poems Eliot wrote, and perhaps the most perfect, though it was not well received by everyone. The poem's groundwork of Orthodox Christianity discomfited many of the more secular literary. In 1939, Eliot published a book of light verse, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. Old Possum was the Urza Pound's nickname for him. This first edition had an illustration of the author on the cover. In 1958, the composer Alan Rawdorn set 6 of the poems for the speaker and orchestra. In the work titled Practical Cats. After Eliot's death, the book was adopted as the basis of the musical Cats by Andrew Lloyd Webber, first produced in London's West End in 1981 and opening on Broadway the following year. 4 quartets. Eliot regarded 4 quartets as his masterpiece, and it is the work that led to his being rewarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. It consists of 4 long poems, each first published separately. Burnt Norton in 1930.